The sky burned red as fire rained down from the ships above. Smoke covered the battlefield. The air smelled like metal, blood, and ash. Human soldiers ran across the torn earth, shouting orders, firing their weapons, or screaming as they fell. Buildings cracked, ships exploded, and every step felt like the world might end. Then it happened. Sound like thunder. Boom, 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 The soldiers stopped and turned. The ground shook beneath them. Out of the thick black smoke, something moved, slow, steady, heavy. She stepped into view, 10 feet tall, covered in dark armor that grew from her skin. Glowing red eyes, long claws sharp as blades. Her presence alone made every soldier freeze. They had heard the stories. Some called her a demon. Others called her the beast. Her name was Vela, but no one said that name anymore. Because the one who had that name was gone. Vela had once been a young alien woman, a healer, a scientist. She had worked in peaceful labs, not battlefields. But when her planet joined the war, her leaders saw potential. Not in her mind, but in her body. Changed her genetic tools. Neural implants, painful surgery, all forced. They erased her smile, removed her memories, replaced her gentle hands with weapons. Now she was a tool of war, sent to destroy the human base. And she was very, very good at it. A human tank fired at her. She didn't flinch. The shell hit her chest and bounced off. She leapt forward, grabbed the tank's cannon and crushed it like a toy. Soldiers opened fire. Bullets sparked off her armor. She didn't bleed. She didn't stop. She roared a deep, terrible sound that made the air tremble. Then one soldier stepped forward. He didn't run, didn't shoot. He just looked at her. Dust covered his armor. Blood ran down his forehead. His helmet hung from one hand. His eyes, blue and steady, met hers. Vela paused. Her claws rose, ready to strike, but something about him stopped her. He didn't fear her. That was strange enough. But more than that, there was a sadness in his eyes, like he had already seen the worst the war could offer. Like he understood. Her heart, what little remained of it, beat faster. Memories stirred. A voice. A song. Laughter. A time before she was a weapon. The soldier didn't speak. He didn't move. Neither did she. Then, boom. An explosion between them broke the moment. The ground split. Vela stumbled back. The soldier was thrown against a broken wall and collapsed. The comlink in her ear buzzed. V-17, respond. Target incomplete. Why did you stop? Eliminate the human. She turned her head, looked at the motionless form on the ground. And walked away. Not fast, not to hide. Just away. She didn't know why. Hours passed. Night fell. The fires of war slowly faded. In the hills above the battlefield, a broken cave gave shelter to one lost human soldier. He coughed, gritting his teeth. Blood stained his uniform. His leg was bruised, but not broken. He wasn't dead. That was strange. He had looked death in the eyes today. No, not death. Her got the creature. The one they said couldn't feel. But she had. He was sure of it. His name was Eli. He wasn't a hero or a leader. Just a man who had survived too much. And today, something had changed. He rose slowly, using a broken pipe as a crutch. The memory of her face, part metal, part flesh, haunted him. Not because of fear, but because of what he saw in her eyes. Pain, loneliness, a silent cry to be seen. He picked a direction and started walking. Not toward his command base, but toward the mountains. Toward her. The wind was cold in the mountains. Sharp and biting. Eli pulled his jacket tighter, limping over broken rocks and scorched dirt. Each step sent pain up his leg, but he didn't stop. He had one goal: find her. He didn't know why exactly. She had almost killed him. She had destroyed half his unit. But she had also stopped Dot, and monsters don't stop. Something inside her had changed, just for a moment. It was enough to make Eli believe she wasn't just a weapon. She was something more. He followed her tracks. Giant footprints pressed deep into the soil. Crushed trees, scorched stone. The marks of something powerful. Yet walking away, finally. He found the cave. It looked like a natural hole in the side of a cliff, partly hidden by rocks. The wind howled through it. Most people wouldn't dare go inside, but Eli did. He limped inside, hand on his sidearm just in case. The light faded. He moved deeper, his breath echoing. Then he saw her. Vela. She was sitting in the dark, knees pulled to her chest, back against the wall. Her glowing red eyes lit up as she saw him. She stood quickly, claws flexing. He raised his hands. Easy. I'm not here to fight. She growled, low and deep. Why are you here, human? Because you didn't kill me, he said calmly. Vela narrowed her eyes. You were lucky. No, Eli said, stepping closer. You were kind even for a second. You fought it. Whatever they did to you, you still had a choice. You made the right one. She stared at him. Her body was tense, ready to strike, but she didn't. What do you want? She asked. I want to talk, he said. Talk? Her voice was cold. I was made to kill, not to talk. Then why are you hiding in this cave? Eli asked. Why not finish the mission? She didn't answer. Eli sat on a rock near her. My name's Eli, he said. I lost my squad yesterday. You destroyed part of it. She looked down. I know. He watched her face. The hard lines. The alien armor fused to her body. But underneath it, there was something sad. Something broken. I was trained to fight, Eli said. But not like this. Not against people who were turned into machines. Vela looked up. I didn't choose this. I figured. There was silence for a moment. The only sound was the wind howling outside. Then Vela spoke, her voice softer. I used to be a scientist. I helped grow plants in desert soil. I healed sick children. Then the war came. They told me I was too useful to waste, so they made me into this. She held up her clawed hand, staring at it. I don't sleep. I don't eat. I'm not allowed to remember who I was. But you do, Eli said. You remember right now. She nodded slowly. Suddenly, a red light flickered at the cave entrance. Vela's eyes sharpened. She moved fast, pulling Eli down to the ground. A drone hovered outside, silent. Scanning. Vela covered Eli with her body, blocking the scanner. He stared up at her, breath caught in his throat. The drone passed. Gone. She stood again. They're hunting me, she said. I didn't follow the mission. You mean they want to destroy you? She nodded. I'm a broken tool now. They don't fix broken tools. They throw them away. Eli stood slowly. Then we run. Vela looked at him, confused. We? You saved me, he said. Now I return the favor. You're human. I'm not. Doesn't matter. She stared at him. Her red eyes flickered. Why? Because someone should treat you like a person again. For a moment. Her face softened. Then she turned. There's a path behind the cave. Leads into the high mountains. No scanners work up there. Then that's where we go. She gave one last glance toward the sky. Then she walked out. Eli followed. And for the first time in a long time, Vela wasn't walking alone. Asterisk night had fallen again. Cold wind rushed through the narrow paths between the rocks. Vela and Eli sat near. A small fire made from broken drone parts and dry alien vines. The heat was weak, but it was better than nothing. Eli winced as he pulled off his boot. His ankle was swollen, bruised from the fall. Vela turned her head slightly, watching him. "You're injured," she said. "I'll survive," he replied. "You limp." "I still survive." She blinked slowly, almost like confusion. Back in the labs where she was made into a weapon, injury meant failure. Weakness meant shutdown. But this human, he laughed through pain. He joked even when he bled. Strange. "Creature," she whispered. He looked up at her. "Coming from you, that's funny." She didn't understand the joke, but she didn't growl either. Eli reached into his pouch and pulled out a small med kit. "These were made for humans," he said. "But maybe you can help? You said you used to heal, right?" Vela didn't. "Speak." He handed her the tool. Her claws were too large. But then, to his surprise, the armored skin around her fingers shifted like it melted and smoothed. More delicate fingers appeared beneath. Still strong, still alien, but no longer a monster's hand. Eli stared. "You can change?" "Only small things," she said. "They left some parts of me soft, so I could infiltrate, pretend, but I never used them. Until now." She nodded. Vela moved closer, inspecting the bruised ankle. Her fingers brushed his skin, gently, carefully. He flinched. "Did I hurt you?" she asked. "No," he said. "Just cold hands." She was silent for a moment, focused on wrapping the ankle with care most humans wouldn't expect from someone like her. "You're not a monster," Eli said quietly. Her hands stopped. "I am," she replied. "You saved that child. You saved me. I've killed hundreds more, but not me." She looked at him, her glowing red eyes now dimmer, softer. "Why do you care so much?" "Because someone has to." "No one cared when they took me," she said. Her voice trembled now. "No one cared when I screamed? When they erased my name? When they made me forget what my mother's face looked like?" Eli sat back. The fire popped softly. "And let me remind you," he said. "Start with something, anything." She closed her eyes. Her body was still, but her mind raced. Then she whispered, "I remember music, music, a soft hum. My mother sang when I was sick. She used to touch my head and sing." She opened her eyes again. "I can't remember the tune, but I remember how it felt." Eli smiled. "That means you still have your soul." She frowned. "My creator said the soul is weakness. Emotion is waste. I was made for one thing. To destroy," he said. "Yes. But now you protect," he added. Vela didn't respond. Instead, she stood and walked a few feet away, staring at the stars above. Her silhouette looked almost peaceful. Then suddenly, her ears twitched. She turned fast, eyes glowing. "Get down." Eli ducked without question. 3 small drones zipped past overhead, scanning the rocks. Vela didn't breathe, didn't move. After a few long seconds, they disappeared. "They're still hunting," she said. "They'll never stop, will they?" "No," she said. "Not until I'm dead." Eli stood beside her. "Then we stay ahead of them. Together. You'll slow me down," she said. "You're already hurt. I'll heal. They'll kill you just to hurt me. I'll take that risk." She turned to him. "Why?" Eli looked up at her. "Because I think you are made into a monster, but you never stopped being a person." The fire behind them crackled. 4. A long time, Vela said nothing. Then slowly, she reached up and touched the side of her face. The armor there softened. Underneath was skin pale, glowing faintly, scarred, but still hers. Eli stared. And then, for the first time since the war changed her. Vela smiled. It was small, barely visible, but it was real. Asterisk. The next morning came cold and quiet. Vela stood at the edge of a high cliff, watching the sun rise over the mountains. The orange light touched her face gently. Her skin shifted with it, half armor, half soft, human-like. She felt calm. For the first time since the change, her mind was silent. No pain, no screaming commands in her ears, no one ordering her to destroy. Just silence. Behind her, Eli was still asleep near the burned-out fire. His jacket was pulled over his chest, his head resting on his arm. He looked peaceful. Vela's claws flexed slightly. She had protected him during the night. She didn't sleep. Her body didn't need it anymore, but she had watched him sleep. She wasn't sure why. Something inside her wanted to. A sound broke. Her focus. Bzzzt. Her eyes flashed red. She turned her head fast. Far below, on the tree-covered slopes, something moved. Not animals. Not soldiers. Machines. Flying in perfect lines. Black, round, red lights, glowing on their sides. Hunter drones. Her body stiffened. They had found her trail. She walked quickly to Eli and shook his shoulder. He opened his eyes and blinked. Morning. Already? We need to go, she said sharply. He sat up. What's wrong? They're here. My people. The ones who made me. Eli stood fast. They want to take you back? Vela shook her head. No, they want me gone. Eli looked. Down the slope. The drone lights were visible now. Dozens of them. All moving toward the mountain. All of that? Just for you? She didn't answer. Her face said enough. Suddenly, a loud beep filled the air. A drone had reached the cliff edge behind them. Vela pushed Eli aside and spun, her claws slashing through the air. The drone burst into sparks and metal pieces. More were coming. We run, she said. They took a narrow trail along the cliff's edge. Wind rushed beside them, and stones fell into the deep canyon below. Eli limped, but didn't. Stop. Vela kept close, shielding him from flying debris. Behind them, drones buzzed louder. Vela stopped and turned. Keep going, she said. What are you doing? Eli shouted. Buying time. You can't take them all alone. I can try, she said, her eyes glowing bright now. He grabbed her arm. They'll kill you. She looked at his hand, human, warm, shaking. No, she said. Not today. Then she leapt. Vela flew off the ledge, landing on a flat rock below where several drones waited. Her claws ripped through them with speed and fury. Sparks flew. Metal crashed, but there were too many. She was fast, strong, deadly, but not unstoppable. One drone struck her back. Another hit her shoulder. A red beam burned across her side. Eli shouted from above. Vela! She jumped back up to the trail, limping, smoke rising from her armor. Her breathing was heavy. We need cover. They found a small cave deeper in the rocks. Eli helped her inside. Her side was damaged, armor cracked, skin burned underneath. Sat down, panting. You're hurt, Eli said. I'll heal, slowly. He took off his scarf and wrapped it around the wound anyway. Vela didn't stop him. She watched his hands work. Gentle, careful. She had never been treated like this, not since her transformation. Not like a monster, like someone who mattered. Suddenly, a sharp noise echoed through the cave. A voice, mechanical, cold. A nearby drone had landed outside and was projecting a message. Subject V-17 has failed her mission. Subject is unstable, dangerous. Elimination protocol approved by Command Council. Execute immediately. The message played again and again. Vela closed her eyes. I told you, she whispered. They won't stop. Eli sat beside her. Then we don't stop either. She looked at him. You'll die. He smiled. I'd rather die beside someone who chose to protect than live under people who chose to destroy. Vela stared, and then something inside her, something small, something almost forgotten, lit up. Not anger, not power. Hope. Asterisk. They found the village by accident. Eli and Vela had walked for hours, leaving the mountain path behind. The trail had been hard, Vela limping from her wounds, Eli helping her even as his own injuries slowed him. Smoke led them to it. Not the smoke of battle, but the black smoke of burning homes. The village had been caught in a recent attack. Small, alien houses made of stone and metal were crumbling. Fires still burned. No soldiers remained, only silence and ruin. Vela stopped at the edge of the village. Her claws curled tight. This wasn't humans, she said, her voice low. This was done by my kind. Eli looked around. Why? These people aren't even part of the war. They helped someone like me once. That's enough for punishment. Eli's jaw tightened. Then we find the survivors. They moved carefully between the ruins. Vela's eyes scanned every shadow, ready for traps. But there were no drones, no weapons. Just destruction. Then they heard it. A faint cry, not a scream. A child's cry. Vela froze. Her eyes widened. That sound. She whispered. She moved quickly, following the sound through the burned village. Eli ran behind her, dodging fallen walls and broken machines. Finally, they found it. A small alien child, no older than 5, trapped under a pile of rubble. Its pale blue skin was covered in dust, one arm pinned beneath heavy debris. It was crying softly, barely able to breathe. Eli rushed forward. We need to lift it. He reached out, but the rubble was too heavy for him alone. Vela stepped forward. She looked at the child, and something inside her snapped open. A memory. A little one just like this, in a warm healing room. She remembered placing a hand on a child's chest, humming softly, the way her mother once did. Her body had forgotten that moment, but her soul hadn't. Vela gripped the broken slab of wall. Her muscles tensed. Her claws retracted to keep from harming the child. With a deep growl, she lifted. The rubble groaned, but moved. The child coughed and gasped for air. Eli gently pulled the child free and held them close. She's alive, he said. Ve. La dropped the rubble and fell to her knees beside them. The child whimpered, barely conscious. Its chest was rising and falling fast. She's in shock, Eli said. We need help. Vela didn't speak. Instead, she reached out and placed her hand gently over the child's heart. Her palm began to glow. Wait, what are you doing? Eli asked. Her voice was soft. Healing. Glowing threads of light passed from her hand into the child. The glow pulsed slowly, matching the rhythm of the child's breathing. And then, the child's heartbeat steadied. Color returned to her face. Her tiny hand gripped Vela's finger. She was going to live. Eli stared in disbelief. You didn't just save her. You remembered how, he finished in awe. Vela didn't answer. Her eyes were wet. The child opened her eyes slowly and smiled, not with fear but with trust. And Vela smiled back. But they were not alone. Up in the trees, just outside the village. A small surveillance drone hovered silent, hidden. It had recorded everything. Vela's strength, her touch, her healing, and her tears. The drone zipped upward, disappearing into the clouds. Hours later, across the galaxy, the footage began to spread. On alien news channels, on human networks, on pirate feeds. The monster the galaxy feared had saved a child. People who had once called for her death now paused. Some cried. Some cheered. Some demanded to know the truth. Is she just a weapon? They asked. Or was she Always someone. In secret rooms on powerful ships, leaders watched the footage with angry faces. "She's a threat," one growled. "She's no longer under our control," another said. "Then we silence her." They issued a final order: destroy V-17. Immediately. And anyone who protects her. Back in the quiet of the burned village, the child now slept peacefully in a warm blanket. Vela sat nearby, still watching her. Eli came to her side. "You changed the world today. I only saved one life." That's how it always begins. Vela looked at her hand, the same one that once crushed soldiers and now had saved a life. "I was made to destroy," she whispered. "Maybe," Eli said. "But what you choose to do, that's what defines you." Vela nodded slowly, and deep inside, the monster they created grew quieter, because now she was starting to believe it too. Asterisk. Across the galaxy, the video spread like fire. An alien child, crying, trapped. Then Dasher. Vela, the weapon, the monster, the beast. Lifting rubble, saving a life, healing with her hand glowing soft like starlight, and smiling. That moment caught by a drone was now being replayed on thousands of screens across space. In homes, in warships, in council halls. Some people cried, others were silent. But the leaders of Vela's creators, the High Command, were furious. "This footage is dangerous," one commander said. "She shows emotion, thought, disobedience." Another added, "She was supposed to be a tool. She cannot be allowed to inspire sympathy. She cannot be allowed to exist." In the center of the dark meeting room, a giant screen showed Vela's glowing face as she held the child. A third voice spoke, calm and cold. "Send the final order." A command was issued, short and final. "Subject V-17 is now classified as rogue. Eliminate on sight. Any who assist her will share her fate." Far away, in the hills above the burned village, Vela felt the sky change. Not the weather, but the mood. The feeling. She stood silently while Eli worked on repairing a stolen communication device. The child they had saved had been handed to a traveling medical drone, safe now. But Vela didn't feel safe. Not anymore. Eli noticed her standing still. "Something wrong?" She nodded slowly. "They know." He put the device down. "They saw what you did?" "Yes, and it frightened them." "Why?" "You saved someone. That's what they fear." Eli stood beside her. "Because you chose." "To do it?" "Yes," she whispered. Suddenly, a sharp sound echoed through the valley. A mechanical voice, loud, cold, all around. Dozens of drones hovered above them, now circling like vultures. A voice played from the nearest one. Subject: 5 to 17. Your usefulness has ended. You are not permitted to think. You are not permitted to feel. You are a weapon. Nothing more. Eli grabbed his weapon. "Back off!" Another drone turned toward him. Human designated Eli Dorn. You have aided the rogue unit. You are now marked for termination. Vela stepped between Eli and the drones. Her claws came out. Her eyes glowed hot. "Touch him," she said, "and I'll tear every circuit out of your bodies." The drones paused. Calculating. Eli stood beside her. "I guess I'm officially a wanted man." "You don't have to stay," she said quietly. "You can still run." He looked at her, no fear in his face. "I ran from enough things in this war," he said. "I'm not running from you." She stared at him. Her chest felt tight. This wasn't part of her training, but it felt right. The drones didn't attack. Not yet. They hovered, scanning, recording, watching her every move. Vela turned and began to walk with Eli up the valley path. Slowly, calmly. The drones followed from a distance, silent. They want to see what I do next, she said, maybe hoping I'll lose control. But you won't, Eli said. I might, she replied. I was made for rage. Maybe, but you've already proved you're more. She stopped walking and looked at him. Why do you keep saying that? He smiled gently. Because I see you. Her breath caught. No one had said those words since she became 517. Not even her creators called her by name anymore. Only numbers. Only commands. But Eli? He saw Vela, not the claws, not the armor, not the fear, just her. That night, they camped in a hidden cave near a river. The sound of water helped quiet her mind. But sleep did not come. She sat alone by the water, staring at her. Reflection. Half armor, half skin, a hybrid of destruction and mercy. She didn't know which side would win. Eli approached quietly and sat beside her. They'll keep coming, he said. I know. Then we'll keep moving. Vela didn't respond. You think? You're still their weapon, he said. But you're not. Then what am I? He thought for a moment, then answered. You're someone who made a choice. And they're scared of that. Vela looked up at the stars, then let them be scared. Somewhere far above them, warships moved into position. Fleets prepared. Missiles were locked. But across the stars, something else moved too. A voice, a whisper, a change. People were beginning to ask, what if the monster was never the monster at all? Asterisk pain shot through her body like fire. Vela dropped to her knees, clawed hands gripping the rocky ground. Her chest rose and fell in sharp, shallow breaths. Sparks glowed beneath her skin. Her veins lit up in red. Kill code had been activated far above the valley. A command ship had sent the Signal 1 final message to end her. Her creators had known this day might come, and they had prepared a silent weapon buried deep in her bones, a command that would make her body shut down, a code that would destroy her from the inside out. Now it was working. She couldn't stop it. She looked up. Eli was shouting her name, his voice full of fear. Vela, stay with me. Look at me. Her glowing eyes flickered. Her breathing slowed. I can't, she whispered. It's inside me? Eli knelt beside her, grabbing her shoulders. Fight it. I'm not strong enough, she said, her voice cracking. Yes, you are, he shouted. You made a choice. You saved a life. You walked away from orders. You protected me. That wasn't programming, that was you. She clenched her teeth. Her claws dug into the stone. Her body shook. The kill code wanted her to die as a tool, a thing, a failure. But Eli's voice was louder now. You're not a weapon. You're not a number. You're Vela. She gasped. A spark of light moved through her chest. Not red, not deadly blue her. True energy. The code screamed inside her. But her screamed louder. Ve, Lao let out a roar. This one not of pain, but of pure defiance. Her back arched. Her fists slammed into the earth, and the glow under her skin changed. Red vanished. Blue took its place. The command. Link snapped. Somewhere on the warship above. Screens blinked. Kill code failed, a technician said in shock. What? That's impossible. A commander hissed. But it had happened. The tool had refused to die. The weapon had disobeyed for the final time. The soul had won. Eli held her steady as her breathing slowed. She looked up at him, her body still glowing softly. I broke it, she said, barely believing it. No, he said. You freed yourself. He smiled at her, and this time she smiled back without fear. Not a weapon. Not a beast. Just Vela. The next day, everything changed. The footage of her survival was leaked by a rebel network. News spread fast. People saw what the kill code did. People saw what she overcame. Some still feared her, but many started calling her a hero. Across planets, soldiers whispered her name. Citizens asked for answers. How had she resisted? Why had she healed? Why had she chosen mercy? Eli and Vela found shelter in an abandoned research base in the mountains. It had food, clean air, and working systems. The world outside was still watching, still deciding what to believe. But in here, there was peace. Eli sat with her at the edge of a cliff, looking out at the stars. "They'll keep hunting us," she said softly. He nodded. "Maybe. But now you have more than just me." She looked at him, confused. "You have them." He sighed, pointing to the sky. "The ones who saw the truth." She closed her eyes. She could almost hear the voices strangers she'd never meet. Believing in her. Hope was spreading. Not fast. But strong. That night, Vela dreamed for the first time in years. Not of war. Not of fear. She dreamed of music. A soft hum. A mother's touch. A child smiling in her arms. And a human voice whispering, "You are more than what they made you." She woke with tears on her face. But this time, they were tears of joy. Epilogiers. Later, in a distant part of the galaxy, a small monument stood. Not tall. Not flashy, but powerful. It showed a figure part armored, part flesh kneeling beside a small child. One hand glowed with light. The other held the hand of a human man. On the base were simple words, written in both alien and human script. "Was built to destroy, but she chose to save." And underneath it, "Vela, a soul they couldn't kill. *The end.